Emergency response team, what's the situation?
We need an ambulance now. A trainer's been pulled under.
This is what happens when the creature you trust most suddenly turns on you. Jessica Radcliffe was no thrill seeker. She was a marine biologist, a perfectionist, someone who believed that understanding and routine could tame even the most powerful predator. For years, it seemed she was right. Every day, she stepped into a tank with a 12,000-pound killer whale named Mallow. They danced, performed, trusted each other while children laughed and cameras flashed behind the glass. No one questioned it until one day, in front of a sold-out crowd, everything changed. No warning, no misstep, just a sudden snap, a shift in the water, and then a silence so loud it swallowed the stadium whole. Why did Mallow, the orca she trained and loved, suddenly attack? Was it instinct, revenge, or something darker no one dared to say out loud? This is the horrifying final story of Jessica Radcliffe, a story that will change how you see animal entertainment forever. She didn't just trust him, she loved him, not as a performer, not merely as a wild animal, but as a partner, as family. Mallow was the centerpiece of the park, the headliner, the main event, the orca that brought in thousands of guests each week. He had performed flawlessly for years until, in seconds, what should have been a joyful show became a nightmare. Screams replaced cheers, water turned red, and a young woman full of life was gone. But this isn't just the story of her death, it's about the warnings ignored, the choices made, and the truth hidden. Raised just outside Santa Cruz, California, with the Pacific Ocean as her backyard, Jessica grew up with a deep love for the sea, nurtured by her father, a respected marine biologist who took her on boat trips, taught her to read the tides, and showed her pods of dolphins dancing in the surf. As a child, she attended a marine park show and watched an orca leap from the water, an image that stayed with her forever. She didn't want to simply watch these animals, she wanted to be with them, train them, understand them. In college, she pursued marine biology and landed an internship at Ocean Haven Marine Park, a rising SeaWorld-style attraction south of Monterey. She started at the bottom, cutting fish, scrubbing tanks, and observing feeding schedules, but quickly proved she had something special. The animals responded to her, especially one, Mallow. Ocean Haven's star orca was 22 feet long, 12,000 pounds, with a massive dorsal fin like a sail. Captured young and trained for years, he could wave, splash, spin, and breach on cue, but he was also temperamental, ignoring commands, slapping his tail, or showing sudden aggression. Yet with Jessica, he was different. At only 21, she seemed to understand him, his moods, his body language, even his feeding preferences. Where others struggled, she calmed him, earning a promotion to lead orca trainer within a year. She called him her big boy and believed their bond was unbreakable. But orcas are not pets, they are predators. And that bond, as deep as it felt, was still human-made. Over time, cracks appeared. Mallow became more aggressive during feeding, once lunging at another trainer, forcing them to leap back. He ignored whistle cues and slammed into the tank walls with such force the sound echoed through the stadium. The stadium had already seen signs of trouble. One junior trainer filed an internal incident report, another requested that Mallow be pulled from live water work, but management dismissed the concerns. It was the busy season, and Mallow was the park's biggest draw. Jessica wasn't blind to his odd behavior, she noted it in her logs, yet believed he would never hurt her. Just a week before the tragedy, she told a co-worker, "He's just moody lately, but we're okay. He knows me." But wild instincts don't vanish, they wait, and sometimes, they snap. On July 6, 2011, under a blazing California sun, Ocean Haven Stadium was packed with more than 2,000 guests, families, school groups, and tourists clutching ice cream, cameras, and stuffed orca toys. Music blasted as the announcer introduced Jessica and Mallow. She stepped onto the platform smiling, the crowd roaring as Mallow surfaced beside her. At first, the show ran perfectly, he leaped, splashed, spun until the finale, the synchronized swim. Jessica dove in, waving at the audience as Mallow circled her in their signature routine. But this time, he stopped. In a sudden, horrifying lunge, his jaws clamped onto Jessica's torso. She didn't even scream. He dragged her under with terrifying force as gasps and screams erupted from the stands. Trainers hurled fish, ropes, and buoys, one shouted commands and jabbed with a pole. Nothing worked. Mallow thrashed violently, holding her under for over a minute before releasing her lifeless body. Divers pulled her out, her wetsuit torn, ribs crushed, and lungs filled with water. She was pronounced dead on the pool deck. The park evacuated in minutes, children crying, parents in shock, others frozen in disbelief. Ocean Haven's statement called it a tragic accident, but those inside knew the warnings had been ignored. Jessica's family held a private memorial on the coast where she once played, scattering her ashes into the Pacific. Her death sparked national outrage, news crews swarmed, animal rights groups protested, and former trainers spoke out about abuse and ignored safety concerns. Within 6 months, Ocean Haven shut down. Mallow was relocated to a semi-wild sanctuary in the Pacific Northwest, living out his days without trainers or shows, but the damage was irreversible. Jessica believed love could bridge the gap between human and beast, that trust was enough, but it wasn't. Wild animals are not actors, not entertainers, not ours. She gave her heart to the ocean, but the ocean offers no guarantees. What happened to her was not a freak accident, it was the consequence of ignoring instincts, silencing warnings, and believing nature can be controlled. This is more than the story of a trainer and an orca, it's a warning. When we cage the wild for entertainment, eventually the wild reminds us exactly what it is. Rest in peace.